Hey y'all, Joel Brown here with the Speckled Trout Outfitters. Here to put out another tying instructional video of one of my favorite little midges. I call it the Bad Hair Day. I'm sure there are a million other names for people that have tied this fly too. This is just what me and my buddies came up with. And it is virtually a zebra midge with one extra step just to give it a little bit different look and kind of an emerger feeling to it. So what you're going to need for this fly is 70 near thread. I'm using tan today. A 2.0 millimeter bead. I've got copper, extra small copper wire, a size 18, 20, or 22 hook, and some white Antron yarn. The beauty of a zebra midge, everybody knows what a zebra midge is for the most part. Super simple fly, and you can do just little things to it to mix it up and make it more efficient for you and more productive. This is just one of those things that I just kind of in the middle of figuring out how to fish the tailwaters just kind of stumbled on. Again, I think it's probably tied by a bunch of different people, and there's a bunch of different things you can do with it. So this is a really good starting place and a good fly to know. So starting out, I'm just going to go ahead and make some nice wraps behind, working down about a quarter of the hook, and then back up just to kind of start building a body. I do this specifically when I'm dealing with round tungsten and midges in general. The proportions, that's kind of one of the harder things about learning how to tie flies at the start, is just getting your proportions correct. And you kind of want to build that body up through the fly towards the bead. So getting a kind of a good base at the start is good to set you up later on when you're coming back towards the bead at the end of the fly. So I'm going to stop there, and now I'm going to add a piece of Antron yarn. One sec, the camera shifted. I'm going to add a piece of Antron yarn, and what I like to do, I think I shared this in the last video, but is kind of take it around the thread. I'll hold it in one hand, go around the thread, and just draw that Antron yarn up around like so. And then I'm going to give one more wrap over there. I do that as opposed to trying to wrap it in, because a lot of times it wants to shift to one side of the hook or the other. This is a lot easier with really any material. And now I am going to just start to save some material and pull this through to just make it, it'll still be a little long, but I'll cut it at the end. Now I've got it on, and I'm going to work my way back down towards the bend of the hook. Even, clean wraps. If you overlap or make mistakes on this one, you can really tell, since it's such a slim fly anyways. So you really want to take your time here. If you get a bad wrap, unwrap and do it again, because that really matters, I think. And I'm going to work right back up to where I had added the Antron yarn and go ahead and cut that out of there. And I'm going to do the same thing working back down. Now I'm going to add my copper wire. Getting started, when you kind of lay it up next to the hook, I like to lay it to the side or underneath, kind of do a loose wrap. If you try to tighten that wrap up first, really tight when you first add the wire, it's going to do the same thing I was just talking about. It's going to want to move that wire to the other side. It's going to be hard to lock in. So kind of start loose, and then once I've got it in, same thing, nice even wraps back towards the bend of the hook. Now that I've got both materials, I'll go a little further than I did last time, just to kind of give it that curl at the bottom, and then nice even wraps back up again. And this time I'm going to keep working back towards the bend, make sure that Antron yarn gets covered, and then start building up some of this base here at the top. Again, proportions, I mean, whether it be my desire just for a fly to look a certain way, or if it really matters, I actually don't know if it matters super much unless it's like completely out of proportion. But take your time, especially when you're starting out. You'll figure out how much thread you really need. The beauty of a thinner thread count is each wrap matters a little less. Because it's so thin, you can kind of make up for it and be a little bit more accurate with how much thread you really want to add. But you can kind of see how this fly, I'm building that the thorax, the head of the fly, up a little bit before I wrap that wire. Now I'm going to take that wire underneath the hook and make nice good wraps, spaced out, not too many, back towards the top. All right, and then I'm going to turn the fly. I've got a rotary vise here so I can kind of flip that. I want to try to seat that wire in underneath the hook. Again, I'll start out kind of loose and I'll go one side of the hook or one side of the wire and then the other side, and I'll do that 3 times on each side. And then to get that wire to cut cleanly, don't ruin a pair of scissors. All you need to do is just grab it and work it in a circle form, and eventually it's just going to break just like that. Now I'm going to pull out some thread here and do a whip finish. Whip finish can be a little bit of a pain. There's great other instructional videos, maybe I'll put one out too, of how to use it exactly. But check that out because this is super, super important. I like to do 4 and then close that down, and I'm actually going to do 2. I've found that sometimes that first one pops and rarely does the second one. It's just nice to have that little bit of extra insurance. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my thread. So now I've only got 1 step left, obviously. I'm not going to keep a tail like this that long. I just want a little bit of tuft on the back to show that emerger look. So I'm going to hold it out with my left hand and just cut it pretty close, just creating a little bit of that extra give to it, that extra tail. Give it that emerger look when you see those bugs flying off the water that are a little bit just smaller than a lot of the flies you have. This is just a great fly to have. And you can tie it again in any color really. So I recommend tan, olive, brown. Those are all really good colors, gray even. There are millions and millions of subspecies. So get creative, change the bead color, change the wire color of this fly. And that's pretty much it. That's the bad hair day. You can also just add a little bit of crystal flash as a tail. You can put this Antron yarn if you want. You can put it up top of the fly, right behind the bead as well. I've done that before. This just seems to be the easiest for the tying purposes, and I think it looks cleaner than any other option I've done before. And it's definitely been the most productive. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll leave a description of each product I used. And yeah, hope you enjoy.